Greetings, fellow gardeners and friends of the Humus Heritage community. If you're watching this, you already know that sustainable gardening isn't just about what you grow, but how you grow it. Today we're exploring one of the most powerful yet underutilized techniques that can transform your garden from a constant battleground into a thriving, self-sustaining ecosystem. This is the living mulch revolution, and once you understand how it works, you'll wonder why you ever struggled with bare soil in the first place. The weeding war is over. Understanding living mulch. Let's be honest about traditional weeding. You spend hours pulling, hoeing, and scraping away unwanted plants, only to watch them return within days. It's exhausting, repetitive work that steals time you could spend actually enjoying your garden. The fundamental problem is that nature abhors bare soil. When you leave ground exposed, opportunistic weeds rush in to cover it, because that's what plants do naturally. Fighting this biological imperative is like trying to hold back the tide with a bucket. Living mulch flips this script entirely. Instead of leaving soil naked and vulnerable, you intentionally plant low-growing beneficial species that carpet the ground between and around your main crops. These plants become your garden's green guardians, occupying the ecological niche that weeds would otherwise claim. The beauty of this system is that you're not fighting nature anymore, you're working with it. When every square inch of soil is claimed by plants you've chosen, weeds simply have nowhere to establish themselves. The competition for light, water, and nutrients is won before unwanted plants even germinate. Beyond weed suppression, the soil revolution beneath your feet. While keeping weeds at bay is impressive enough, living mulches deliver benefits that reach far deeper than surface-level competition. Underground, these plants are actively transforming your soil in ways that conventional mulching materials simply cannot match. Their roots create intricate networks of channels that improve drainage in heavy soils and increase water-holding capacity in sandy ones. As roots constantly grow, die back, and regenerate, they deposit organic matter directly into the soil profile, rather than just on top of it. The microbial magic happening in the rhizosphere of living mulches is where things get truly exciting. Plant roots exude sugars, amino acids, and other compounds that feed beneficial bacteria and fungi. These microorganisms, in turn, break down organic matter, cycle nutrients, and create soil aggregates that give your garden that coveted crumbly texture. When you choose leguminous living mulches like white clover or hairy vetch, you're adding nitrogen-fixing bacteria to this underground ecosystem. These bacteria capture atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into forms your plants can use, essentially creating free fertilizer while you sleep. The water conservation benefits of living mulches become immediately apparent during dry spells. Traditional bare soil loses moisture rapidly through evaporation, especially on hot, windy days. A living carpet of foliage shields the soil surface from sun and wind, dramatically reducing this water loss. Additionally, the improved soil structure created by living mulch roots helps water infiltrate quickly during rains, rather than running off, and then holds that moisture in the root zone where your plants need it. Many gardeners report cutting their irrigation needs by 30 to 50% once living mulches are established. Selecting your species means matching plants to purpose. Choosing the right living mulch requires understanding both your climate and your gardening goals. White clover varieties, particularly the small leaf types like Aberace or Rivendell, are workhorses for annual vegetable gardens and young orchards. They tolerate moderate foot traffic, fix substantial amounts of nitrogen, and their flowers attract pollinators throughout the season. The key with clover is selecting varieties that stay genuinely low-growing, as some Dutch white clovers can become too vigorous and compete aggressively with your crops. For perennial settings like established orchards, berry patches, or around fruit trees, creeping thyme offers a Mediterranean toughness that handles drought beautifully once established. It forms a dense, fragrant mat that stays under 4 inches tall and requires minimal maintenance. Sweet alyssum works wonderfully as a temporary living mulch in annual gardens, quickly covering bare ground with delicate foliage while attracting beneficial insects. Its shallow roots make it easy to pull or turn under when you're ready to replant. Hairy vetch serves as an exceptional choice for those practicing crop rotation in annual vegetable beds. Planted in fall, let it grow through winter in mild climates, and it will fix nitrogen while protecting your soil until spring planting. When you're ready to plant warm season crops, simply cut the vetch at ground level and leave the residue as mulch while the roots decompose underground, releasing their stored nitrogen. Phacelia deserves special mention for its speed and versatility. This fast-growing plant produces beautiful purple flowers that beneficial insects adore, and it can be sown multiple times throughout the season as a catch crop between main plantings. Success with living mulches hinges on timing and spatial management. The biggest mistake beginners make is planting their living mulch at the same time as their main crop, and then watching both compete equally for resources. Your cash crops need a head start. Plant your tomatoes, squash, or other vegetables first, and let them establish for 3 to 4 weeks until they have 4 to 6 true leaves. At that point, their root systems are developed enough to hold their competitive advantage, and you can introduce the living mulch between rows or in adjacent spaces. So, spatial arrangement matters tremendously. You'll want to keep a clear zone of at least 6 to 8 inches around the base of your main crops, especially for young plants. This buffer, prevents the living mulch from shading out your vegetables or, competing too intensively for water during their critical establishment phase. Go ahead and broadcast your living mulch seeds between rows, along pathways, or really in any open spaces your garden layout provides. For transplanted crops, you can even seed the living mulch before transplanting, making sure it's already germinated but still small when your larger transplants go in. Managing growth intensity is where, honestly, a lot of gardeners feel uncertain, but it's simpler than you might think. Most living mulches respond really well to periodic mowing or trimming when they reach about 4 to 6 inches tall. You can use a string trimmer, a lawnmower set on the highest setting, or even just hand shears for those smaller areas. And hey, leave the clippings where they fall. This chop and drop approach means those clippings decompose quickly and return nutrients to the soil surface. This regular trimming keeps the living mulch in its productive, vegetative state, rather than letting it put energy into flowering and setting seed when that's not your goal. Once established, living mulches dramatically reduce your garden maintenance burden. You'll spend far less time weeding, your watering demands will decrease noticeably, and your soil will visibly improve each season. The ongoing care involves occasional trimming, monitoring for any overly aggressive spread into areas you want to keep clear, and observing how your main crops respond. Some crops, particularly shallow-rooted or slow-growing ones, may need more careful management of the living mulch competition than others. At season's end or when rotating crops, you have options for managing your living mulch. Annual species like hairy vetch or Phacelia can be cut and allowed to decompose on the soil surface, then turned under lightly before replanting. Perennial living mulches like clover can be maintained through multiple growing seasons, providing continuous benefits. Many gardeners practicing no-till methods simply pull back the living mulch to create planting pockets for their next crop, then let it regrow around the new plants. This approach maximizes the soil biology benefits while minimizing disturbance. The transformation a living mulch system brings to your garden extends beyond the immediately visible benefits. Over multiple seasons, you'll notice your soil becomes darker, richer, and more friable. Earthworm populations typically explode under living mulches, further enhancing soil structure. Water infiltration improves year after year as soil aggregates develop. Most satisfying of all, you'll spend your garden time harvesting, observing, and enjoying rather than engaged in endless combat with weeds and dried-out soil. This isn't just another gardening technique, it's a fundamental shift toward working as nature's partner rather than her adversary. If this approach resonates with you and you're ready to revolutionize your growing space, I encourage you to subscribe to the Humus Heritage channel and hit that notification bell. Share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to move beyond conventional methods. Together, we're building a community of growers who understand that the most sustainable gardens are those that harness natural processes rather than fight against them. Happy growing, and here's to soil that works for you while you sleep.